Today's lesson, listen, learn, and earn. I'm going to save you $50,000 to $100,000. Okay? I'm Rock, your divorce strategist. In fact, I'm going to change it. I'm going to shorten it up. I'm your DS. You know what I mean? Let's have some fun with this. Hashtag DS or I'm your DS hashtag. I'm having fun with this because I'm out of the jungle. You're just getting into it or someone's getting into it. It's serious shit. So today we're going to talk about billings of the retainers of these attorneys. In fact, I've decided I'm going to change, instead of just saying an attorney, let's just call all attorneys, let's come up with a name. How about Dick? How about Dick? My attorneys I'm going to refer to as Dick, build me this. Dick, build me that. Okay? That's what I've decided to do. I'm going to make this fun. The other thing is I'm going to put a soundtrack because eventually I believe I'm going to do a screenplay of my life. Somebody mentioned to me a few years back, Rock, you should write a book. So I did. I got one book and I got another coming out. With that, I think I'm going to combine the two and make it a screenplay. Don't think I'm goofing around. This is good stuff. But today's session, today's lesson, listen, learn, and earn. I'm going to save you $50,000 to $100,000, okay, on attorney fees alone. It could be more. But the average person, you're going to save $50,000 to $100,000. And if you got hit on both sides, the wage earner, it'll be $100,000 to $200,000. I know because I've been there. Okay? So what we're going to do here is the soundtrack is I was brought up in the 70s, basically the 70s, 60s and the 70s. And there was a song called Can't You See? Marshall Tucker. Believe me, I lived on music alone while I was going through my divorce because I couldn't see my kids. I was having a career issue. I had family issues. All of a sudden, you become exiled. You know what I mean? Families and friends and that because, hey, and I was one of the first ones to go through a divorce because I was so young. Now I would say at least half or more of my friends, male friends, are divorced. Okay, and of course, women. Okay? And can't you see Marshall Tucker? There's a lyric that says, what she's doing to me. So that's my theme for today. Music always makes it, doesn't it? In certain events. Today we're going to talk about my actual attorney. I don't know how many pages it is. It's probably about 5 or 6 pages. I'm going to let you know how important these contracts are. And don't forget, I was not served. I decided to serve my wife at the time. They put a cease and desist on the mediator, and the mediator was done. So I had to get out. I wasn't going to play games. I petitioned the court. What happened is I had to go out and get an attorney. And it's difficult, man. I called all the people I trusted in Florida because I never had a divorce attorney in Florida except for a prenup. What'll happen is you do your due diligence, you ask a few people, and most of the people I spoke to were already divorced. And they would recommend their attorney, and then they would say, well, Rock, I wouldn't recommend him or her. It's just that I used them at the time. Nobody wants to recommend their divorce attorney. It's always bad news. Always bad news. I'm going to show you why. I interviewed at least 5. I picked the wrong horse. I've mentioned that before. When I started thinking about picking the wrong horse, well, I'm the fucking jockey. I fell off the horse and I was trampled. Yeah, I'm crazy, but guess what? Let's have some fun with this, okay? So let's go over here it is, contract for services. I can't go over the whole thing, but I'm going to give you some key words. You hear that? Keywords. You know, like SEO keywords, okay? So I'm going to give you keywords from these attorneys, okay? These contracts. This is from Dick. The first thing you're going to look at it, you're going to be messed up, man. And then you're going to have to make a decision. And if you go see them, oh, by the way, I've never seen my attorneys. Everything was Zoom. It was after COVID. They didn't meet with me or anything like that. Phone calls, texts, everything digital now. And there's a reason for it. They're going to charge you for it. They're going to charge you for everything. Lunches, on the phone. And after a while, you're going to find out they don't return your calls and everything else. Okay, so here we go. Retain this firm to act as your attorneys. Once you sign this contract, you're fucked. And like I said, you're very emotional. It's emailed to you because they're basically looking for a retainer and what they call an engagement. Once you sign this agreement, they're going to sign the agreement and they're going to ask for money up front. It's called a retainer. Then they explain the contract services on these 4 pages, and it's boilerplate. Believe me, it's boilerplate. They're lawyers, so they know the rules, they know the laws and so on. But basically, it's explaining your responsibilities. And your responsibilities is all about, it's all one-sided. And you really think that they're going to help you? Okay, I'm here to tell you, they don't help you. It's all administration. It's like having a secretary rolling the stuff. It's all boilerplate. It's all state-driven. There's no church involved. Catholic Church, I thought they would save me with witnesses and testimony. No. There's none of that. Once you go to the state, you're fucked. You see? Jurisdiction, big thing to know. What jurisdiction are you in? Because you can't really shift. You have to understand where you got married is really where the jurisdiction's going to be. Okay? So let's go back to the contract. I'm going to give you words. Acknowledge receipt. In this case, it was $7,500. Just to say you're hired. Okay? Up front. And it says, sometimes the court will order your opponent. Your spouse is now your opponent. Not their opponent. No, your opponent. Okay? That's really sad. To pay part or all of the fees and costs. It never happens that way. I'm going to give you a couple others. Just short bullets. So you know what you're going to face, because my recommendation is, if you go this far, I hope you don't. You really need someone on your side that really cares about you, to read it, to understand it. I don't care if you go to another attorney that's objective and non-biased, basically a business attorney, to understand what you're signing. Because it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. Okay? Now, it says here, it is impossible to determine in advance the amount of time that will be needed to complete this case. Yeah. That means as soon as you sign, it's rolling. I'm talking about the time clock. And it doesn't stop. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Okay. The fees were, for Dick, was $400. And Dick had a family member as a paralegal for $300. What I was really paying, thinking that you're never going to need a paralegal, because I'm a businessman. I know how to do this. I had a full-time bookkeeper. I had a CPA and all this, so I knew my shit. I was very organized. So you're really paying $700 an hour. Because what happens is they pass it on to the paralegal to look it over, which is bullshit, and charge you $700 an hour. That's what I was paying. That's what I was paying in Florida in 2022. Okay? Now, the services will include service of process, which is bullshit, depositions, appraisals, fees for witnesses, accountants. You hear that? Accountants. And they're not business people. They're not business people. Counselors and other experts, long distance telephone calls, photocopies, postage, and administrative expenses in handling your case. Okay? Now, another statement. We do not represent clients on a fixed fee. That means you can say, hey, is that $7,500 from start to finish? No. They're basically saying it's got to be in their contract because you could actually sue an attorney, which I didn't know. Okay? Now, time is billed in a minimum increments of 1/10 hour. So figure that out. $700 and a tenth is how much for 6 minutes? Think about that. So you take that 60 minutes and they bill in 6-minute increments. That's $70. So you're on the phone or you're on a text and it takes them 6 minutes? Nothing takes 6 minutes. Okay? Just so you know, you're paying $70 and break that down. It's bullshit. But that's standard. It's standard in the industry. That's why I'm saying don't go into the system. Another one. You agree to pay us our fee and to reimburse us for all advances on your behalf no later than 10 days. How can you come up with more money? A lot of people are on credit cards and they're billing like crazy. Okay? Now, here's a word that I want you to think about. It's a sin, man. It's a sin. And in this document, this word is used so many times. I'm going to give you some more words because it's bad. I think it's very important for you to know. I blame myself because I thought I was smarter than them when it came down to knowing business. I was going to negotiate. I was going to do my own deal because I'm a deal maker all my life. No. The court stops you. And these attorneys will stop you. They're supposed to do their fiduciary duty. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And there's good and bad attorneys, good and bad marriages, good and bad in every industry. And you know what? People are all getting caught today. I wrote down a couple words here. I mean, look at. I got a clipboard that I don't want to miss this because I could go on forever. Here's key words in the contract from Dick. Client responsibility. That's the client, okay? Don't forget, you have another attorney on the other side. And if you're the breadwinner, you're paying $1,400 an hour. Think about that. Because at the end of the day, you're going to pay. The breadwinner's going to pay. Okay. Client responsibilities. Withdrawal. I hate that word. They can withdraw at any time it gets tough. They go to the court and they withdraw. You got to go out and get another attorney. So everything they did is wiped away. They go to court and you got to get another representation. And you only get so many days. Yeah. He'll go out and fuck you and you're stuck. And you got to pay another retainer for another attorney. Here's more. A lien. If you don't pay your bills, they put a lien on you. It could be a lien on your home. It could be a lien on whatever you're awarded. It could be a lien on your credit card. I mean, it's terrible. They got it where they could sue you. And believe me, they will. They will if you don't pay. Okay? Another terrible word is special attorney fees. A lot of it is for an appeal or trial. In my case, they wanted $25,000 to go to trial for one day to prepare for it. You got to pay for it up front, good or bad. And think about this. Then the other attorney knows it's $25,000, so it's $50,000. That was one of my decisions. Well, you know what? I got to get out of here. It's going to cost me $50,000 up front. I didn't believe in justice or righteousness. Nah, I don't believe in that shit. You get in the system, you're fucked. As I mentioned before, there were 3 judges, and they were all women. I looked at their bios, and I could see none of them had a family law background. They all had different backgrounds, and I'm like, oh my God, these guys, they don't read this shit. They're too busy. They're too busy. They're not going to read this, and they don't want to get involved with emotions. He said, she said. It's over. Here's the guideline for the kids if you got kids. And, here's your assets. We're going to try to go 50-50. And, the attorney fees, the breadwinner, you're going to get stuck with them. Then there's a discussion on alimony. They always fight for alimony, male or female. It's about the breadwinner. Okay? Now, there's also in the agreement, Dick's agreement, collections. Yeah, there's collections involved. So if you don't pay your bills and you settle, they come after you after the final bill. Oh, yeah. You can't escape. And they put it right in the settlement agreement. They call it the docket. You get on a docket, and they get the judge to sign off for it. Now, think about the judge. They were attorneys at one time. They know what it is to collect from people that don't pay. There's no games. This is not like a business where people could walk away and you call collections and you walk. No, they put liens on you. They sue you forever. They want their money. Okay, another word you don't want to hear. Reasonable fees. What's reasonable fees? I call them fuck fees. You're done, man. There's no negotiation because once something is done and decided on, that's it. There's no negotiations. No negotiations. With my attorney, my first attorney that fired me, Dick had a family member, which was cloned in to be a dick. Okay? I'm trying to tell you, don't do what I did. I picked the wrong horse. I fell off the jockey. I was too heavy, and I got trampled. But guess what? I still lived. No broken bones. Okay, contempt. There's another word you got to learn. Contempt. If you're in contempt, they will sue you. They will bring you in after everything. If you do one thing wrong, like I did, I mailed something and it got lost. They sued me for 48 hours and it cost me $2,500. Yep. Contempt of court. Why? Because the ex-wife, she contacted her attorney. I had to call my attorney and say, listen, here it is. Here's the postmark. Here's the USPS. They missed the unit number, the apartment number, whatever. Fuck me. You know why? They want to get their money. And they had a lien on her because she didn't pay her attorney fees. You see how crazy this is? This is crazy. Here's another thing in the agreement. The court may order your spouse to pay their attorney fees, which happened to me. I had to pay her attorney fees right in my settlement. Right in my settlement. They lie about everything. I'm talking about, don't talk about justice and righteousness. People lie like crazy under oath and, oh my God. That's why you don't want to get into this. You know, there's a lot of things I didn't talk to you about, but it's all in here. Depositions, vocation, service of process, knock on the door, they serve you. fees for witnesses, accountants, counselors, and other experts. Bullshit. Okay, my bottom line in this is don't call Dick. Don't call Dick. Try to work it out. Have common sense, because it's going to cost you $50,000 to $100,000 each attorney. If you have anything more than, I'd say, $500,000. If you got less than $500,000 net, you can't even get an attorney. They'll go find somebody cheap, and you know what? You're still going to pay. You're going to pay mentally, physically, emotionally, and when kids are involved, it's the worst fucking thing, man. It really is. And you know what? There's a short-term and a long-term trauma. I've been divorced from the first wife since 1988. My kids in their 40s now, and they don't forget. They don't forget. Neither do I. That's why I'm trying to teach everybody. You know, I'm trying to help you. Don't do what I did. Now, let's talk about the billing. The billing of 1 month is longer than the engagement letter. Okay? It is. So I'm going to go over it. This is from Dick and Dick. Dick and Dick. They go for professional services rendered. 7 pages. Got the date, dissolution of marriage, correspondence via which is electronic. It's got the dates of a month, EC, email, TC, telephone conference, OC, opposing counsel. Yeah, they bill you for talking to them too, on both sides. Listen to this. No charge as courtesy to client. Of these 7 pages, was there an NC? No, Dick and Dick. The firm of Dick and Dick, there's no NC. I'm just going to go over some highlights. Draft. This is a draft. You know what a draft is? They're just going to draft it out, give you an outline. And AI is probably doing a lot of that now. I went through it before AI really kicked in, so I did everything. I had everything organized. I told you, I'm very organized. I'm a businessman, 50 years, so I know. Bookkeeper does this. I kept files and so on. Not to say I'm going through divorce. Hell no. Okay. Draft prepare witness list. $400 for the hourly rate, but the fee was $700. What did I tell you? $400 for the attorney's license to kill, and $300 for the family member. Say, hey, let's just put another. And how are you going to prove it? There's nothing there. I'm going to just give you some high ones. Another draft, $700. To me, all this was submitted by me. Attend prepare deposition, $2,000. They say they're training me what to say. What the fuck am I going to say? I'm going to be trustworthy. I'm going to say it. This is the truth. No, they don't talk about the truth. Here's another draft, $566. Oh, man. I had to bring this out because I want you guys to know that this is crazy. Okay, so more and more drafts, 7 pages. Here's one, $800 deposition. Prepare deposition of the wife, $800. Yeah, deposition. Then there's here's a nasty one. Attend deposition of wife, and this was on Zoom. $2,800. Finalize witness list, another $400. You like my close-up? Okay, I gotta hold this, man. I'm holding my deal. I'm embarrassed. I can't go to my condo and talk like this because people might hear. Oh, okay. Total fees this statement, $12,099.98. They got the 98 cents in there. Plus another $535. for a court reporter appearance. Yeah. Yep, that was it. So I'm giving you a heads up, man. I'm giving you a heads up. This is what you call an attorney, engagement letter, contract for services, understand a contract before you even start. You better know your price, your value. You better know what you have in the bank. Here's the other fear that you should have, because this happened to me in divorces. They take the money out of the joint account and you didn't know where it went. Then you find out you're served. They already got an attorney. The monthly bill is $12,000. Yeah. And she exercised a withdrawal. She exercised a lien. She tried to sue me, and I turned around and sued her. And by the way, you can't sue attorneys because it's called malpractice. But how are you going to get a malpractice attorney? It's called professional services malpractice. You're not going to find anybody to sue another attorney. And who's making the decision? It's some type of committee that they have up in Tallahassee, Florida. They're not going to go against somebody. No, they're attorneys. They all know each other. They're having drinks. I started out with the soundtrack. Go listen to it. Go listen to Can't You See by Marshall Tucker. That's going to play in your head while you're reading this or listening to this, because I said you're going to listen, you're going to learn, and you're going to save in this one if you're smart. I'm not taking sides here. I'm pro-family. I'm pro-marriage. I'm pro-everything because that's the way I was raised. I had the foundation. But when you get kicked in the balls, that's it, man. You got to react. You have to go out and get lawyers. And a lot of it is protection. So listen, learn, and protect. That's why I say that. Can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? All right. You know who I am. I'm Rock. You're DS. You're Divorce Strategist. My sister makes fun of me. I always end with, always bring joy. If you're offended by my language or my bitterness or resentful, it's not. It's not. I'm just saying I'm one of the lucky ones. My dad used to say to me when people got hurt or something happened, he says, hey, at least it wasn't arms and legs. And when you got 11 kids and they made sure that they had all their fingers, their eyes, their feet, their toes, we've been lucky, our family. That's why I'm so involved with kids. And that's why I was so fortunate to have 3 kids. And they're beautiful kids. And they I feel for them because I never went through a divorce on my family side. My mother and father were married for 74 years. And nothing's perfect, but you know what? My dad would say, stick and stay. Stick and stay. And you know what? I'm sorry to say, my wives did not stick and stay. The commitment wasn't there. And as we mentioned before in my other videos, the top major 3 reasons for divorce, male or female, is number 1 is finance. Number 1 is finance, the security part of it. Number 2 is infidelity, cheating. It's a big one. And I don't condone that, And then the last one is what I feel, and I felt like in my marriages, all 3 of them, there was a multiple reasons why to divorce me. And, I get it. And I was fortunate to say, okay, I get it. Took me a long time. And number 3 is commitment. If you're not committed to the marriage or the family, my parents, 74 years and 11 kids, are you telling me there was no commitment and dedication and respect and honor your mother and father? But you know what? That was a different generation. Now I'm into beyond that, but I was exposed. I lived amongst my parents, and that wasn't normal having 11 kids in the neighborhood in one little house and one car. No, we were brought up to work, not education. Work, work, work. You hit 18, you get out of the house. My parents never taught us about marriage. And you know what? My mother loved everybody unconditionally. So even when we went through a divorce, she never was unconditional love, you know? And she had 8 boys, 3 girls. And my father, different. Once you're out, you're out. And I've been lucky enough to say that, you know what? I'm lucky that YouTube is here so I could teach other people that, listen, this could happen to you, male or female. But what I didn't really expect to talk about is the trauma on the kids. Yep. It's traumatic. And you know, they always say, kids could adapt to divorce. Kids could are resilient. No. We don't know what's going on with the kids. We just know what's going on with us. I've tried therapy with the kids when they were younger and all that. No, Dad, we're cool. Everything's good. But they pressed it down. And now it's coming out. And they have children. They got problems. It's part of life. It's part of the life cycle. So anyway, I hope this helped you. Don't retain dick and dick. Be very careful. If you have to go that route, the first route is, like I've always said, try to talk to your spouse and realize it's really down to money. If you don't like each other, if you can't forgive them for whatever reason, for infidelity or fraud or, you know, financial issues, which are big, and that's number one, or the commitment, you're out. You get it. It's never going to improve. You've always heard about these people going back and forth. Oh, I love you. Let's get back together. I've seen it. In the Bible, they talk about going back to your vomit. That's what you're going to. You're going back to shit. It's not going to improve. God's giving you the right to be independent and free. That's how I look at it. And people say to me, Rock, how are you so positive? You have to go through it, but nobody knows what I went through. Nobody knows about my career. Nobody knows how I had to turn everything around. I couldn't afford to be married. I couldn't afford to date. I couldn't afford shit. And I had employees. And I had to be strong. You poor suckers that are going through this or thinking about it, it is not greener on the other side. But you know what? Sometimes it's good to walk away. Abuse or whatever it is. Don't go to your priest. Your priest has no shit. Pastors and all. The pastors are going here. The priests are going there. I mean, and no one's going to take care of you but yourself. So the best thing you could do is protect yourself. And that's both sides. But if you have the logic, the rationale, and the common sense to sit down and say, listen, this is going to cost us $50,000 to $100,000. Let's just split it. Let's not do it with an attorney. And that's all you have to do. Go to mediator, they notarize it, you settle, and you walk away. You can do that. You know, because somebody will work with you to get the guidelines if you have children. If you don't, you just walk away. Don't be a bloodsucker. Bloodsucker. That's what I had in my divorce. I had bloodsuckers. You know, in 88 and 2020 or 2022. Yeah. That was all it was. My sister said she thought, well, I knew, you know, she met you on sugardaddy.com before I married her. Now I tell her, you were right. I did meet her on an app, but the app was stupid.com. Okay, here we are. I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much. I hope this helped. In fact, let me know if it's helpful. I'm getting some requests that I got to dive into. I try to keep, you know, the names out and all this other stuff. And you're right that when you're going through it, or if you've gone through it and you're still in it, it's rough. But listen to Can't You See? And I'm going to leave it with always bring joy. So I'm Rock, your DS. I'll talk to you soon.